Alright, on this episode of Cinema Disaster, I'm going to be doing a VHS retrospective of films that whose box art used to really catch my attention when I went to the video stores back in the 80s. You know, back before Blockbuster and all these like big corporate video stores took over. You know, there was the whole mom and pop video stores that were everywhere. You know, I could name like a ton that were just in my town alone. You know, there was Very Video, Flicks, music, Bethalta Video World, The Video Store, Pick a Video, Fantasy Video, Video Mania. I mean, plus every grocery store had their own video section. And back then, the whole idea was that you had to make the box art really grab your attention. You had to make it very interesting because the more interesting that it was, the more it jumped out at you from the shelf, and the more of a chance that it had to be rented. So as a kid in the 80s, going to the video stores with my parents, there were certain movies that always jumped out at me every time. And it got to the point to where every time I would go, I would specifically look for these movies. And I want to talk about the ones that made the biggest impact on me as a child. The first one I want to talk about is John Carpenter's Escape from New York. Just the whole image here of the Statue of Liberty's head being in the middle of New York City. It looks like a dystopian type of future. Which this movie came out in 1981, and it takes place in 1997. And the cover says, "New York is a maximum security prison. Breaking out is impossible. Breaking in is insane." And just that whole idea captured my imagination. The title, for one thing, was Escape from New York. You know, like, why do you have to escape from New York? You know, like, what is there to escape from? And why is the Statue of Liberty's head in the middle of the street? You know, why is all this chaos ensuing? I mean, in my child's brain, this captured my imagination, and it was very intriguing to me. The next one that I always looked at was a movie here called Silent Night, Deadly Night. And first off, the title in itself, Silent Night, Deadly Night, was very captivating to me. It captured my imagination again. And this imagery here of Santa Claus coming down the chimney, holding an axe, and, you know, the box saying Santa's here, and obviously being a kid and believing in Santa Claus and seeing him coming down the chimney, obviously ready to massacre some people, was kind of traumatic as a kid seeing this. And but it's one of those things that it kind of freaked me out, but I couldn't take my eyes off of it. You know, it was completely mesmerizing, and I would look for it every time I went to the video store just so I could see it again. I mean, that goes for every box art that I'm going to show you tonight. The next one was a film called DEFCON 4. And this is like a post-apocalyptic film that takes place after World War III. But the cover of it, with the astronaut, the skeleton, you know, inside the astronaut suit, and if you look in the background, there's like a destroyed city, and he's sitting in like this swamp, and you got like this decrepit like spaceship, and the whole idea of that once again captured my imagination, and I just wondered, like, what in the hell, what was going on in this picture, you know? So the next one I want to do is a movie called House. And for some reason, you know, well, the title, it says Ding Dong, You're Dead. And it's got like this severed hand that looks all decayed and it's ringing a doorbell. You know, that may not look fascinating now as an adult, but as a kid, you know, this really sort of stuck in your mind. It was powerful imagery to me. And you just wondered, or at least I did, you know, I wondered like what was going on in this film. The next one I want to talk about is Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. You know, you have the hand coming up out of the grave, grabbing the girl's throat, and she's, you know, screaming for help or reaching for help. And just the name Evil Dead alone captured my imagination because I wanted to know, like, why is the dead evil? I always wondered why in horror films as a kid you would see like good people or people, you know, that were protagonists in films, they would die, but when they came back they were always evil. And I always wondered why they came back evil if they were good people in real life. So once again, that title with the imagery was another thing that had me asking a lot of questions. The next one I'm going to show you, obviously, is Evil Dead 2. Now, I don't have the VHS of this, but the art is the same as the VHS that I saw as a kid. And this creeped me out big time. And I think it's because the skull has eyeballs. They're just kind of staring right at you. It gives you this evil stare. And I was almost afraid to look at this thing. But once again, it was one of those things where I couldn't look away. The next one I want to talk about is the vampire film Fright Night. Once again, I don't own the DVD to this, or the VHS to this, but it's the same art, basically. And just the color concept of there's this blue cloud hanging over this house, and you have like this vampire, which was a very terrifying face to me as a kid, this vampire imagery hanging over this house. And the name Fright Night was another one of those that really intrigued me. The last one I want to do is The Nightmare on Elm Street. Once again, I don't have the original VHS box art. This comes from the box set, which has a little bit of the box art, original box art on it. But so that's why I'm going to put this picture up of what the original looked like. And if you notice, it says, if Nancy doesn't wake up screaming, she won't wake up at all. And that was one thing I always wondered, like, well, why is she not going to wake up? And, you know, you've got the Freddy claw coming over her face, and then you can sort of see, like, it's not Freddy. I don't know, like, what it is, but it looks like almost like a zombie or partially decayed skull face in the background. Above her head, it's sort of faint. It's kind of blending into the background, and she has this terrified look on her face. And this is another one that I always looked for. And I miss the days of the video, sort of like VHS revolution from the 80s. I enjoyed going there and looking around and seeing all these really cool box art. You know, nowadays that's gone. You know, everything's digital. You download it, you stream it. And I think that, like the old VHS, it's lost art. And, well, that's really all I had to talk about. And until next time, keep watching.